The approach that has been taken is where there has been a choice between either economy or human lives. I personally believe that there does not need to be a choice. We can actually have both. We can protect the human lives as best as possible, yet at the same time there are also ways and means where we can still encourage the economy to at least in parts continue going. And this is where I'm heading to, is that for tourism there are various scenarios of where we're going to. And Namibia is a country where we derive most of our tourism revenues, the money that actually pays for salaries, the money that keeps the economy going, is derived from plus minus between 500,000 and 600,000 foreign or overseas nationals that are coming to visit Namibia. Of course, we do have a small local market, but currently, until date, the biggest money was generated by these clients. And international travel in a realistic scenario is not going to pick up in this year. That's unfortunately the harsh reality. On how and when these travel restrictions, it doesn't necessarily mean we in Namibia on how we restrict it. Also is very dependent on how the rest of the world restricts their citizens on leaving the country or what regulations they put in place, and as to when they return from elsewhere in the world. And realistic scenarios see that the international travel component probably will not be unrestricted as it has been for the remainder of this year. Which unfortunately entails that for a country like Namibia, where we have a huge income from international travel, that the knock is not only going to be over once we end our lockdown. We need to be, as an industry, we need to be very clever on how we can move forward for it. And as I've mentioned, I personally believe that any lockdown scenario where we want to first and foremost protect human lives, but also encourage economic stimulus, will happen in stages. Where, for example, let's take this on a Namibian scenario where we, for example, in Namibia currently have a very, very small number of infections, which is great. Which means currently, if there's no infections in Namibia, if we can control it, and that is something that the Ministry of Health and those professionals would need to verify, that we could open up local travel, that people can go from Windhoek, for example, to Swakopmund, these kind of things. And under very controlled circumstances that, for example, restaurants would still be able to operate. And that's just, for example, say they would be able to operate in the same way like supermarkets currently do. They would be granted a permission to open up if they can ensure that guests sit 2 meters apart. There are certain ways and means, but at least through that we would be able to, again, get a bit of revenue going and get companies the opportunity to actually start working with that small little market that could potentially be there. And I think that's a very, very important and urgent message that we need to do. And maybe just to add on to that one, everybody thinks that this tourism industry, the first thing that comes into mind is lodges, is tour operators, is tour guides. Well, like the Honourable Minister said, those currently have absolutely no business, none whatsoever.